Hello friends, Smogan here with another video for you, but this time it's not going to be Scrolls at all. It's actually going to be a game called Spellweaver. So Spellweaver is another one of those online collectible card games that an independent developer has created and hopes to get a sort of toehold in the marketplace that is so well dominated by Hearthstone. We all know how Scrolls fared with that competition, and this video is basically for Scrolls players who are maybe looking for a new trading card game home, something to get their creative juices flowing, something to get their competitive juices flowing. Spellweaver, for some of you, might be the answer. I've only put a couple hours into it so far. I just learned about it yesterday from some comments on NRP's YouTube video, and I downloaded it. It's free to try, and I've had a blast in my couple of hours playing it. So I thought I'd share it with you, maybe describe how it is similar to and different from Scrolls and other trading card games that are out there. Then I'll talk about kind of what the monetization system is, how fair it may or may not be, and then that'll be it, and we'll see how it goes. You can find out more on spellweaver-tcg.com. There's a big button at the top to download the client and get rolling in the open beta right away. Like I said, it's free to try, and it might be worth just taking a look at. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into a quick game versus the AI. I obviously have just started, so I don't have a very good deck. It's just sort of a pre-con with a couple of small modifications. So I'll just kind of talk our way through a game. Scrolls players will first notice that it looks more like maybe Hex or maybe Soulforge or MTG than it does Scrolls. It's top-bottom rather than left-right, and there's some sort of board game elements, but it's very shallow compared to Scrolls board game Hex board elements, so nothing at all like that. There is a mulligan system, but we won't worry about that for now. Waiting for I guess it's my turn here. So the mana system is quite a bit different from Scrolls, but does have some similarities. You have these shrines in your deck. It's kind of like MTG in that you have your lands in your deck, or like Hex, where you have your whatever they call them in your deck that you have to draw to gain mana that you use to cast spells and so on and so forth. And the shrines are that system. But the casting cost system is, well, it's a threshold system, and you guys know how I feel about threshold systems. I love them. I think they're great. I think they solve a lot of problems that MTG's casting cost system has, and I think that Spellweaver has done a really nice job at designing their casting cost system. It's got a really interesting take. In the top left here of my gross experiment, a creature card, you can see the overall mana cost, which I currently have 1 mana that you have on your first turn. It costs 2 to get it outplayed. And then down the side here is the level system, which is their threshold system. So this means that I need 1 level in Dominion, which is my faction, before I can play this card. And in order to gain those levels, you play your shrines, which you can either play for a Dominion level or a mana and a card. So this is different than Hex's system. This is different than the system we were also interested in at least trying for Scrolls itself. You have to choose either your level or your mana. In the first turn, you can only choose your level. So I will start by generating that level. So now I can play a 1-cost, keeps wanting to say scroll, a 1-cost card that has 1 level. I don't have any of those, so I'll just end my turn. Note that the opponent will be going. They're going to do some stuff. The game is borrowing from Hearthstone, and there's a free 1 mana boost for the player that goes second. That was just patched in today, I believe. It just started, and so they use that to play their 2-cost creature, which has 1 order level, and you can see their level there. So they only had 1 mana, but they used their free resource to generate the second one to play their 2/2 there. So it's now my turn. I'm going to go ahead and play my second land, this time for a mana and a card. This is a really cool mechanic. You don't just get a mana, you get a card as well. And what that means is, even though your lands or your shrines are in your deck, there's very little risk of getting completely mana flooded. Later in the game, if you keep drawing shrine after shrine, you can just play them for a mana and a card and get a new thing to play. Really clever take on this resource design. So now I've got a couple of cards highlighted in green that I can play. I've got a spell that destroys a creature. I've got 2 creatures of my own. I'll start with a Moon Priestess here, playing it in my support row. So the way the rows work here is the one in front is, I don't know what they call it, like your active row that you can attack and block from. In the back is the support row. You can play any creatures there that you want. I don't actually know what the support keyword does, because you can move anything back and forth. But anything in the support row cannot be attacked and cannot block. So basically my little 1/1 that can exhaust its turn to give me 1 mana temporarily can't be attacked by his creature. So that is like a nice little spot to put them when you want to protect them. So I'll pass the turn. He's going to play another of his priests, which have Lifebound, which is an ability that lets them gain life when they deal damage. He attacks, goes into the combat zone. I cannot block with my guy in the support zone, so I'll just let the combat resolve. I take 2, he gains 2, and that'll be the end of his turn. I draw another card at the beginning of my turn. Now I have this special shrine. It's called a Cathedral of the Night, and what that does is it has the same abilities as a typical shrine, except instead of drawing me a card when I gain mana, I can get a special skill from it. I'm going to see if I can undo that, and those skills go over to your heroes. So kind of like Hearthstone, your hero, basically starts with an ability that you can spend resources to cast, and you can actually gain additional abilities with particular shrines. So this ability, I'm going to gain a mana and a skill that goes down here, and now later in the game when I get a higher threshold, I'd like to be able to click on that and see, but you can't. But I'll gain that ability that I can use on the opponent's creatures. So now I've got 3 mana and still 1 level. I can play out my 2/3 guy if I so choose, and I think that I will. Why not? So I'll stick him out there. I've got 1 mana I could generate from my Moon Priestess, but I can't really spend that on anything yet. But I will show off one more mechanic. Note that I have no more shrines in my hand. And there's this little button over here, this Divine Offering. And what that lets you do is exchange any 1 card in your hand for a well, I'll just show you. So I'll take this Cataclysm, exchange it. I look at the top 4. If there is a shrine among the top 4, I can put it into my hand. So this is an anti-mana screw mechanic, which is another really clever take. The problem with Magic the Gathering, I love the game so much, is sometimes you just draw 2 lands and you lose, and there's nothing you can do about it. So between the drawing extra cards when you gain a mana and this Divine Offering system, in like the 30, 40, 50 games I've played already in a couple of hours, maybe not that many, maybe about 30 games, I haven't really been mana screwed or mana flooded yet. So it really is working out pretty well for me. I'm pretty excited about it. So he plays out a little wall. He's going to double attack my guy. Your units can choose their targets, so he is going to get to basically kill my dude, but I will also deal 2 damage back. There's reciprocal damage, so we'll trade units. You can see how that's going to flow here. He's going to gain some life from it as well, and I lose my guy. End his turn, onto my turn. I'm going to go ahead and gain another mana. I draw a creature with a nice ability, so I've got 5 mana to spend, including my Moon Priestess. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with an Assassinate. I'm going to play this, well, actually it's an instant. There are instants in this game. You can play them on your opponent's turn, which is definitely different than Scrolls or even most trading card games on the market right now. I'll play my Experiment, which lets me try to grab an enchantment off the top of my deck, which I will grab, so buffs him up to a giant 4-attack, 5-health creature. And then I've still got 3 mana to play around with. Let's see, what do I want to do with that? I think I will drop this Power Seeker out and pass the turn. Okay, so he's going to play a spell, gain some life, draw a card, and then he's going to end his turn. So that was good for me. This is an ability off my creature again, didn't hit an enchantment, so I'll just pass there. Have another shrine I can play. So I can either go up to a 2nd level, which unlocks my amazing Cataclysm, but I don't need to do that yet. I could also unlock the Grappling Hook and even my little ability here, which is pretty good, so maybe I'll actually do that. So I'll go ahead and try that. I'll gain a Dominion level, so now I can spend 2 mana. The level doesn't go down. 2 mana to put a Weakness Emblem, which is a -1 attack, -1 health on a creature and gain some life. So I'll do that on his wall here. So it's now an 0-2. I'm going to use my other ability, which lets me refill all my mana crystals, so I've got 4 mana to spend still, and then I'm going to launch an attack targeting units to force them to block me. And I know I'm not explaining all the mechanics here, I'm just trying to show the basics. I want to buff this guy up with his ability, basically 1 mana for 1 power. And I'm going to go ahead and let that attack happen. I'm going to clear off his board, deal some damage to him as well. And I've got 2 resources left. I think I kind of wasted my ability, but that's okay. I'll just pass the turn. I guess I have some mana if he attacks me. Okay, so now it's my turn. That was again from my gross experiment, which looks at the top 4 cards every turn. I have another land, which will draw me a card. Got another creature off of that. My special hero abilities are on cooldown, and I think what I'm going to do here is just play out another creature, and then I'm going to attack his hero directly, trying to reduce him down to 0 health. I'm going to go ahead and spend my resources to get him up to 3 attack, and then that'll be 5 total damage, which is kind of nice. Putting him on a little bit of a clock, and passing the turn. He did nothing again, so I don't know if this is a bug, but normally the opponent is playing lots of stuff, but this might be just as well. So my gross experiment found another enchantment that'll go on him, so he's going to continue to grow. Play out another mana and draw a card. I've got just some enchantments in hand. I guess I'll go ahead and play one. Might as well. So buff up another guy. Spend some resources to buff this friend up again. And this button just sends everybody to attack the hero, and that's going to be a ton of damage coming in. So you can see that this game is quite a bit faster paced than Scrolls. A typical Scrolls game is 15 to 20 minutes. When I'm not talking through and just kind of playing, when I play the AI, I'm done in like 5 to 7 minutes. I've played a couple games against humans, and those have gone a little bit longer, maybe like 10 minutes, but overall not that long. Definitely a lot quicker than Scrolls. And the opponent is continuing to do nothing, which is just as well, so I can end the game relatively quickly. Whoa, don't do that. Don't do that. Undo. I want to attack with this guy too. So we're going to buff him all the way up. Gaining extra mana to do it. I think this is going to be game ending right here. Now we'll send in everybody. That's a ton of damage. The opponent's not going to do anything, so I'm reducing him to 0, and I win the game. Hooray! Go Smogan, I win. Okay, so I gained some gold, I gained some fame. So that was kind of just a quick snapshot of what a game looks like. You can see that the system is quite a bit different from Scrolls, more similar to Magic or to Hex, but still a lot of fun, goes relatively quickly. Okay, so now that that's out of the way, I'm going to take you through sort of the back end of the game, talk about the monetization, the collection, opening packs, things like that, real briefly. Try to wrap this up in about 10 minutes or so. So the monetization system. Initially, I was really concerned because you can see there's some gold up here that I was earning. I earned 20 gold that match, or 25 or something like that, and there's another currency here called like crystals or something like that. Yeah, crystals. So going into, what button did I press? The marketplace here. You can see that a basic pack of 10 cards costs about 1,200 gold or 100 crystals. So what is that in real world currency? So if I want to get more gold, again, 1,200 buys a pack. $5 in US cash buys about 2 packs worth. $5 to buy 2 packs. That's not ridiculous. That's cheaper than Magic. That's a touch more expensive than Hex. It's not ridiculous for games that you sort of pay to progress. So that's not too awfully bad, but you definitely can just dump your real life money. You can spend 90 bucks to get 60,000 gold, some bonus, and just buy a ton of packs and get a massive head start on somebody that's just earning 25 gold per match. You know what I'm saying? So you can definitely buy your advancement. There's also these crystals. How much is a pack in crystals? 100 crystals gets you a 10 card pack. 100 crystals is again $5, so $5 gets you 2 packs. You can even do this like 2,000 crystals for 40 bucks to get 2 free packs, and then you can buy, 20 packs or whatever, so 22 packs for 40 bucks. Not awful, a little under $2 a pack. But there you have it. So you can definitely pay to advance. There's no question about that. I haven't seen any hint of a cap on that. I don't know if there is or not. You can buy these like featured packs that are kind of like in Scrolls, where you can get just specific sets. These are resource specific, so you only get certain. If you're working on just your Dominion deck, you can have a better chance at getting those cards. You can even drop a ton of money on like 45 packs and a bunch of crystals, and if you don't have $125 to spend, then you're not going to do this. But you can definitely buy your advancement. So initially I was definitely concerned when I saw that, because I played a game, I got 25 gold, and when it costs, what would I say, $12.50, that's a lot of games to get 10 cards. That's a lot of grinding. So I was really nervous initially. But the good news is there's at least a kickstarting mechanic that gets you going quickly. As you can see, I've got 1,000 gold here, and that's pennies compared to what I've earned already just by playing games against the AI. I put no money into the game so far. And the way that works is that fame system. So when I played against the AI, I got both cash, or I'm sorry, not cash, gold and fame. And the fame lets you level up. I started level 1, now I'm level 6. To get from level 1 to level 2 was something like 40 fame, so just a couple of games and I leveled up. And to my surprise, when I leveled up, I got like a bunch of cash and a free pack or something like that. And that's continued. Every time I've leveled up, I've gotten just tons of free stuff dumped on me. So I've already been able to buy, by level 6, a couple hours into the game, I think I've bought like 4 or 5 packs already, and I've already got 1,000 gold. I've unlocked a free starter. So you start with one that I chose was the Dominion one, and I've also, once you get level 5, you get a pick a second starter, and I chose this, I don't even remember what it is, Corruption as my second one, and from what I've read, that continues. So at level 10, I will also get another pack, or another starter deck, and that continues 15, 20, 25, so by level 30 or so, or maybe it's 25, you've unlocked all 6 resources and gotten a good start. Not to mention every time you level up, you're getting free stuff to buy packs and stuff like that. So it seems to be not too bad as far as pay to win potential. You can definitely, if you just want to dump some money in and get a giant collection, you can do it. Nothing stopping you. But for those of us that want to play for cheap or for free, you can slowly grind your way and get some stuff and just very slowly work a deck up. What I can't tell you is whether or not you can become competitive without putting real money into the game. I've only put a couple hours in. I've played a couple games against some human players, and they demolished me. This game just came to open beta 2 weeks ago, so obviously anybody that's playing this game is, for the most part, a veteran that's had lots of experience and played in closed beta. Very few people like me that are just starting playing right now, I think. So I jumped in and just got absolutely thrashed. I didn't stand a chance with my pre-con. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. There's very few players playing. I have no idea what the matchmaking looks like, so you're just going to be matched up against veterans, and that's just the way it is, at least until the game gets a little bit more popular, if it ever does so. So that's kind of what the monetization looks like. Looking at the factions, so looking at the different resources, I unlocked first, and I can't click on the tooltip for it anymore, I don't think. This, I'll go to my hero. I unlocked the Dominion hero, which is sort of like black in Magic the Gathering. It's got some stuff that benefits when your creatures die. It's not a ton of it. It's got things like Deadly, which is like Death Touch and Scrolls. Seems to have some enchantment or artifact or whatever they're called, implant synergy, and lots of removal and stuff like that. So I picked that first just to kind of get a sense of that's the color I tend to play. I love Decay in Scrolls. And then my second one was Corruption, which is actually more of what I was thinking that Dominion would be. Corruption has even more like discard and graveyard manipulation, and your stuff does cool things when it dies, and you're killing your opponent's units and things like that. So I think that Corruption might be more what I'm looking for. And like I said, couple hours in, I was able to unlock the Corruption for free and got to play around with that. You can put multiple colors or multiple aspects or whatever they call the factions in one deck. The threshold system allows for that. You have to do it very carefully. You can't just do it willy-nilly, because sacrificing for multiple thresholds means you're not sacrificing for mana and not getting the free scroll draws that comes with it. So it definitely comes with a downside, and I have no idea if competitive decks tend to be mono resource or multiple factions. I have no idea, but it's something that I'll sort of learn as I progress. Looking at the other four real briefly, you have your standard green deck like an MTG. Seems to be aggro and elves and things like that. You can get a sense of what those cards tend to look like. I don't know. I don't tend to enjoy these, but a lot of people do. Looks like Growth in Scrolls. Lots of people like that, so they'll jump to that. And then you have Arcadia, which is like blue in Magic the Gathering. Lots of tricksy stuff, card drawing, things like that. I tend to enjoy these, so I'll want to unlock that relatively quickly. And then you have your Order, which is a lot like Order in Scrolls. I'm not going to lie, it's extremely similar. Soldiers that benefit from having other soldiers around. Does that sound familiar, guys? Absolutely it does. So you'll recognize that quickly. And then the last one is the Red, the Quran. They seem to have, well, I don't really know, direct damage like in energy and probably lots of cheap stuff. I mean, goblins, I mean, you can probably guess what that's going to look like if you've ever played any collectible card game before. Kind of look at the heroes. So you'll slowly unlock those as you play. So those are the factions, and then the last little bit that I'm going to dive into here is talking about what deck building looks like, collections, and then I'm going to open a booster pack and show that off a little bit because it's kind of cool how they do that. So, oh, real quick, I do want to say they do have this trial system that you have to be level 8 to unlock, and that's kind of like Judgment, it looks like. It's pretty expensive to buy into. You can buy it with gold, but the rewards look pretty fair. It looks like you break even if you just go 50-50 with your little trial run. Oh, and yeah, before I jump into the collection, other things I wanted to say, I'm looking at my notes, sorry. There is a quest system to additionally help you as you advance. So not only are you gaining gold and packs and stuff while you level up, every time you unlock a new faction or aspect or whatever they call it, you get access to new quests. And as you play these quests, like this one is just win 10 quick battles, which is probably like 100 minutes of playtime at the most, you get some free cards, which is pretty cool. And this one's actually a legendary, which is pretty rare, and you get a cool rare and an uncommon. And those seem to be changing frequently. I've done like a bunch of quests already, and I don't fully understand when they pop up and when they go away, but I'm sure you could look into that. This is another one where you get free cards for corruption. Just win a PvE challenge, so you play against this Duke's deck, and if you win, then you get some free cards. And then there's ones that are just like complete a trial, get some free stuff. There's some other ones I've done. It's just win 3 matches, play 5 matches with a particular deck, get some free gold, get some free cards, get even free packs. I think when I hit level 6, I unlocked 3 booster packs, which is pretty darn cool. You can gain fame by doing the quests. So I think it's the strategy then is to just unlock just play a bunch until you unlock all 6 starter decks, and then you can just do a bunch of quests to continue to progress if you don't want to spend a lot of money. So that's a pretty cool system, much better than Scrolls' quest system, which is, well, basically hidden within the achievement system and not very much going there. You could do the trials in Scrolls, but those wear out pretty quickly. The daily trials in Scrolls were much better, and this is what those quests tend to look a little bit more like. So kind of cool. I like that a lot. And then you can see there is a friendly game, like a quick match versus a ranked game. I don't know anything about that, so I won't dive into that too much. So going into the collection itself, I've just got the 2 precons and like 30 more cards I've gotten from packs or whatever. You can of course sort by the different aspects and kind of look and see what you have. Do I have any epics? I have no epics yet, but I do have quite a few rares to start with. Some of them are pretty good, some of them are a little more narrow, but seem pretty cool. So I'm pretty impressed by the card design overall. Lots of the cards ignite my imagination as a deck builder. I just get like excited to, like, when I look at this card, I'm thinking like, great, I can build an implant deck around that if I can never get 4 of those and have a pretty cool deck going. And then these rare shrines or whatever they're called are pretty cool too. And looking at some of the other cards that are out there, some pretty cool mechanics, sacrificing creatures to buff up and things like that. I'm pretty impressed with the card design overall. And then looking at the deck builder, edit my deck here. This will look a lot like Hearthstone for those that have played that, but the deck building rules are a lot better than Hearthstone's in my opinion. Hearthstone was what, 30 cards, and you can only have 2 of each in each. So I just felt like decks were boring in Hearthstones. I felt like when I was building a deck, at least early on, maybe it gets better when you get all the cards unlocked, but who has the time and money for that? Anyway, in Hearthstone, when I was building a deck, I felt like they were just uninteresting, having 2 copies of everything. In this, you can have 4 copies, and there's 60 cards, so you can have a little bit more interesting deck. You typically want to have about 22 shrines, so that leaves you with like 10 or 11 different cards that you're going to include, smaller than scrolls, which typically included 16 to 20, if I remember right, different scrolls in your 50 scroll deck, 3 copies of each. So this is a little bit fewer total copies, but more cards in your deck, if that makes sense. You can have different heroes, like there's a couple different heroes for each faction, so you can kind of use that as you're building your deck. So that's kind of nice. So to edit your deck, you just sort by whatever and drag your card in or drag cards out, so on and so forth. Organize it for you by casting cost and everything. So that's kind of nice. And then let's see. Last thing I want to do is go through getting new cards. So in my collection, I have one booster pack that I saved for you guys, and this is something that I think that Spellweaver has done a phenomenal job of. So Scrolls was decent at this. When you open a pack, you kind of get the flashy animation and cool sound effects as you go through. Sometimes you get random bonus scrolls or whatever. Hearthstone blows this out of the water. When you open a pack in Hearthstones, it's just like, oh my god, the world is amazing and everything is going my way. Look at all the flashy lights and sound effects and everything. Spellweaver is more like Hearthstone. Does this look familiar? It does just a wonderful job. You just feel like a god when you're opening these cards. So I mean, it's all sorts of shiny. I get this cool fireball. Open this one. Open this one. In a 10-card pack, there's like 7 commons and 2 uncommons and a rare. And it does this cool, awesome thing. So when you get a new card for the first time, it's like, hey, your first copy. Check it out. Isn't this amazing? And I'm like, yeah, this is amazing. And I'm excited to learn what that card is. Some more random commons. Looking for, I guess that was my rare, was this Flesh Sculptor. Popping more cards. And yeah, they just did a really nice job of that. It also does a cool thing. It didn't happen this time, but when you complete a playset, it comes up and says, hey, you completed your playset. Isn't this awesome? It makes you feel good. So I love the way they did their booster packs, and now I just have those 10 cards. So yeah, this is Spellweaver. I'm pretty impressed so far. I'm a little nervous about pay-to-win potential. If somebody just wanted to dump $200 in, they would just be light years ahead of me, and it would take me hours and hours and hours to grind up to the point where they were at. But it appears with the quest system and with the level up system, I'm not sure if there's caps on that eventually, but it appears that you can build your collection just free to play at a reasonable pace. You have to be somebody that enjoys slowly improving their decks to enjoy that. If you just want to have a competitive deck right away, it ain't going to happen unless you dump money into it, it looks like. So if that's your cup of tea, then you're probably going to have to spend money if you want to enjoy this game. But I tend to enjoy just building as I go, and so Spellweaver's system seems to play into that pretty well. There's talk of a campaign coming in a couple of months. There's talk of the game being on Steam. I guess it's already greenlit already. So I'm hoping that I'm not just getting my hopes up into a brand new trading card game that's just going to linger for a year and a half and then die. Hopefully there's actually a decent population at some point, but anyway, that's Spellweaver. I highly encourage you to check it out. Spellweaver-tcg.com. Join the open beta. Totally free. Give it a try for an hour. See if you enjoy it. This has been Smogan. There might be more Spellweaver videos on this channel in the future. Not 100% sure, but we'll have to see. Thanks everybody for watching, and go have fun.